What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the fourth ever episode of the Sportsgasm podcast, the podcast created by fans for the fans, because we are oh so qualified to talk about our favorite teams. We're your hosts. I am Isaac.
I'm Kylee.
And we have our second special guest with us today. This is, like everyone to meet, Eric Killebrew of the Blue Stable and Colts coverage. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
So Eric's going to be talking with us about the Indianapolis Colts, our featured team of the day. And Kylee, you want to kick us off with some questions?
All right. So we're going to start off with probably your favorite one with Flu's being gone. What do you think about it?
So I want to start off by saying I think he is a good coach.
Yeah.
I tweeted that. I was harping on him all season long, though. I really didn't like our defensive coverage. A lot of times I felt like we allowed too many drives to the 20, and then it'd be like, okay, play defense now. I didn't like the turnover bust. We tied in the league with the highest turnovers with 31. But when you look at the numbers, you lead the league in turnovers, but you're still allowing touchdowns like every other drive or points. That's just not a winning combination. I mean, the record was 9-8 this season. I don't think that's a coincidence. So
They blew a lot of leads too late in the game.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it was 6 game-winning drives given up this season.
Yep.
That's about third of the season is lost due to blowing leads and game-winning drives. That's just a stat that it can't happen. It can't happen in the NFL. And I felt like we needed to go in a different direction for the new defense. I'm looking forward to the new defense and seeing who they bring in. So
It's gonna be crazy. I'm excited for it. The one that does stick out to me the most is that Baltimore one because I went to that game. We were up. It was. I hated that one.
I was losing my mind.
Yep.
I will say the only thing about the Baltimore game that Flus can kind of hang his hat on is all our defense started getting injured. Everyone was going down. We had like our 6th-string corner out there. Like the only starting corner we had at the end of the game was Kenny Moore, and that was it. Everyone else got hurt.
Yeah, I think the game losing drive that stood out the most to me probably has to be the Bucks one.
Of course.
Oh, only coincidence with the Brady Bucks jersey.
Yeah, more on that later. Yeah, no. What my whole thing is this: I want to know. Okay, so your defensive coordinator, you know, all of this is happening, and yet somehow the Bears are still like, that's our guy. That's our guy. That's who we're going with. I think that speaks really poorly on Chicago's front office. Like, I'd rather have Matt Nagy over Matt Eberflus, to be honest. Actually, wait, I need to think about that.
That is a hot take.
At least with like Matt Nagy, if you're gonna lose, you know you're gonna lose. I feel like with Flus, it's gonna be like, well, we might win, but it all depends if the defense can actually do something. So I'd rather take not having a heart attack every week than.
See, but he clearly can't develop a quarterback. He's had Mitch and he's had Fields, and he can't develop them.
That is true.
Yeah,
that's true. In that case, you know what? Let me take it back. I'd rather have somebody different than both. So I have to ask. After the Jacksonville game, we all know that Irsay and Ballard are pissed off. And I have to ask, how soon after the Super Bowl, once the offseason officially kicks into gear, do you think that roster moves are going to be made? What's going to happen?
So my projection is everyone knows Ballard's way is developing through the draft and not just swinging for the fences at free agency. He takes a very measured approach in free agency. But I honestly think the end of the season meeting between Irsay, Frank, and Chris Ballard, I think Irsay sat him down and was like, look, I'm tired of this. He sent out a video. He said this was unacceptable. This will not stand. and he was really fired up and visibly pissed off. And so I think he kind of sat down with them and was like, look, we have money. I expect it to be used. Because we always somehow have a lot of cap space that really isn't used. And I think Irsay this time is saying, hey, you have to use it. Like, we're not going 9-8 again. This is unacceptable. This isn't the way the Colts franchise is built. We're a proud franchise. We don't do these losing seasons and non-playoff appearances. Like, so I think there will be a lot of moves made, actually. I think this team could look very different come next season. I think the pillars are all there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a lot of talent. We have so much talent. We're stacked, which makes this even more frustrating that we went 9-8 and missed the playoffs, and we lost to the freaking 2-14 Jaguars. I'm still not over that one either.
No,
but so I think there's going to be a lot of moves. I actually just tweeted out Taron Armstrong. He's a free agent this year, and I'd like to see the Colts pursue. The only problem with that is they do have a lot of cap space already tied into the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back and look at the Colts season, you can pinpoint a couple different areas where games really turned on a dime. And there's one player that stood out in a very negative way in terms of that, and that was Eric Fisher.
Yeah.
I think bringing in Armstead would be a great move to protect whoever is the quarterback next season. I've already stated that I'm 98% sure it's going to be Carson Wentz again. I don't, unless Aaron Rodgers appears in Indy. That's about it.
We can only hope.
But exactly. But I think that would be a solid move. I'm definitely looking for a new left tackle this offseason because I don't want another year of Eric Fisher. I appreciate him trying to come back as fast as he could from his Achilles injury, but
yeah, Eric Fisher,
I think he showed he's not that good anymore.
Eric Fisher really disappointed me. You know, having to watch the Chiefs pretty much every week because my mom, and being a pseudo Chiefs fan, you know, really was pulling for Eric Fisher. But
what about Orlando Brown Jr.?
So he's good, but I mean the Chiefs just traded for him.
Yeah.
And I don't see them moving him.
He's a free agent.
Oh, he is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He would cost less.
A lot less.
And he is better than Eric Fisher. So I could see that. I could see that. That could be a Ballard move.
Big name.
I don't know if Armstead, if Ballard would swing that high just for a left tackle or not. But I could see that one.
It'd be really interesting to see if that happens. Speaking about Wentz, how did you feel about the trade when it first went down?
So news broke of the trade. I immediately hopped on a podcast with some of my other friends, and we all broke it down. And I said I was excited because everyone knew Carson Wentz 2020 situation was awful. Injuries around him, just freaking front office is always a mess with the Eagles. The owner sucks. Like everyone, Howie is just Howie. Like everyone knew it was a pretty toxic situation for all around. Carson Wentz did not help himself that season though. So I said that. I said I was excited for him to get into the building, work with Frank, and then build with the pieces around us because I thought we had better pieces than what he worked with last season. And I was like, I'm honestly excited to see if we can witness this turnaround. And, you know, I'll save my thoughts for the Wentz trade in a little bit. But
how do you overall hit the entire season, not just the end or just the good parts? Like overall, how would you think he did?
Okay, so I think I'm gonna I'm going to try to put in towards their Carson Wentz experience. One moment you look at him and you're like, holy crap, he is top 5 in the league. And then the very next throw, you're like,
the hell was that?
What?
Yep.
And you're like, this dude should be a third stringer. And just everything in between. Like, he makes elite plays and then he just does stupid things. And it's just like, and that's what's frustrating for Colts fans. I don't think we would be having this conversation of should Carson Wentz be back next season if Jacksonville game hadn't happened. I don't think that's much of a reality, because the problem with some fans is they only look at stats. You look at Carson Wentz stats: 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. You're like, oh, that's pretty good. Number 10 ranked quarterback in terms of quarterback ranking. Like, it's like he put up solid stat sheet numbers. But when you actually dive into the film, you can see missed opportunities. You can see overthrows. You can see underthrows. You can see just not everything is on him, obviously. I'm definitely not saying Carson Wentz is the problem. Carson Wentz was the reason why the Colts went 9-8. No, I think he had very good moments. I think he had very poor moments, and everything in between. So what I'm looking for in Wentz is just be consistent.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see you go out and play like absolute crap through 3.5 quarters, and then in the final 8 minutes play like a franchise quarterback. Like, I'd like some more consistency there. But overall, I would grade the Wentz trade as a B- right now. I think he showed that he can improve. I think this is a vast improvement over 2020, which I think it speaks highly to the Colts' just overall culture, how they were able to get him back, not constantly looking over his shoulder and stuff like that. I think that was good. But I think if he's back next year, he definitely needs to work on his mental aspects to the game. Because he has all the physical features: a big arm, he's a big quarterback, he can even run when needed. Like, he has all the physical traits to be a franchise quarterback. What he's lacking in, and what shows on film sometimes, is the mental aspect. He sometimes did not pick up on blitzes. He didn't call them out, which also is hard on the offensive line at that point. So he didn't do his offensive line some favors. I know our offensive line didn't do him favors at times either. So it was really just getting on the same page, working on your mental aspect. I think I told someone the other day I want Frank Reich to sit him down in a room for 2 weeks straight and just show him the beginning of plays. Just pre-play. And ask Carson, what is it? What coverage is this? Where do you want the ball to go? Is it a blitz? Those type of things. I think he really needs to work on that, because he has all the physical traits. It's just the mental side, which is the difference between a top 5 quarterback and numbers 15 through 20. You can have all the physical traits, or you can not have the physical traits, such as Tom Brady, but be so dang good mentally that you're elite.
No, hold on a second there.
I'm not saying Brady. You can't say Brady isn't fast. Brady has a good arm. He has a good arm.
I know.
What I'm saying is, in his later parts of his career, he's relied on the mental aspect. I mean, you saw that with Peyton too. Like, he's very smart, and that's what still made him elite. And that's what you need in a quarterback. The mental aspect is very important, because it is the most important position on the field. And if you are lacking in the mental capacity to be able to diagnose coverages, blitzes, know where to get the ball, then you're going to be in that 15 to 20 range, and you're expendable and upgradable at that point. So
do you think, because obviously we all know Jonathan Taylor had a phenomenal season, broke Edgerrin James' record for rushing, but do you think the constant rushing kind of hindered Wentz's ability to get in the groove?
So what was kind of frightening to look at was I believe it was week 13 on, Frank Wright did not trust Carson Wentz to throw the football. His pass attempts went down. The run game went way up, which is what Jonathan Taylor was going off, so I understood that. But the fact that it was so few less passing attempts, I think it spoke volumes to how Frank didn't exactly trust Wentz in the final stretch of games. So I think that the running game, it certainly helped us in a sense, but also it did kind of take back from Carson, because when you're not throwing the ball a lot, I mean, there would be drives where he'd only throw it once, maybe every 2 drives or something. So that can obviously take away from reps. And if you're just sitting on the sideline, not throwing the ball, going to the game, handing the ball off, like, you can certainly lose your edge or stuff like that. So I think that did kind of have a small effect, but I think Carson Wentz is also blamed for that part.
Oh, yeah.
Because Frank didn't trust him in the game's big moments to deliver. So I'm kind of on the fence about that one. I know JT just went crazy. He was ballistic this season. Like, it was very fun to watch, but it was also terrifying to someone who has to look back through all these things and come up with content to be like, okay, yeah, Frank Wright did not trust Wentz at the end.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, I mean, as an Eagles fan who was on the Wentz side of the opinion, obviously, he had always done these, going back to the mental aspect, he's always had those issues. And I did see the improvement, but like you just said, at the end of the day, Frank Reich just didn't trust him. But it'll be, if he does stay this year, it'll be interesting to see if he does improve that and all of that. But other than the extremely disappointing and painful end of the season, how do you feel about the entirety of it?
So overall, I felt like there were great moments. We beat top contenders. I mean, the Colts just absolutely blew the Bills out of their own stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I still don't know how y'all pulled that off.
I called it before the game. I said, it's redemption season. I said, we're going to go in there. We're going to beat the Bills. I didn't expect 41-15, but we throttled the Bills. We absolutely throttled the Bills. We should have beat the Bucs.
Expected that.
We should have beat the Bucs. We should have beat the Rams.
Should have beat the Ravens.
Should have beat the Ravens. When you look back at this season,
should have beat the Titans twice.
Oh yeah, you see defining moments in the season where the Colts came up just short, and whether it was stupid situations such as Tyquan Lewis tearing his MCL on a picked off return of Ryan Tannehill, and then fumbles the ball back to the Titans, and then they score a freaking touchdown the next play. That's the kind of bullcrap that the Colts season kind of was this season. It was, we could hang with the top contenders, we could beat the top contenders, and then you could lose to the Raiders and then the Jaguars. And I think that just kind of spoke volumes to what we need to look at this offseason, because we have some top players. We have some very elite players, but we also have what other teams would consider gap players, and those are in prominent positions.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to address those before anything. I think our wide receivers, Pittman went over 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Pascal was the next closest at like 327 yards.
Whoa.
Wait, whoa.
Yeah.
Run that back.
Pittman had over 1,000 yards. The next closest receiver to that was Zach Pascal with about 327 yards.
Well, well, there's your problem right there. That's overly reliant on just one player. That's that's
I think
incredible.
I think it was crazy. I mean, it also some of it was Carson Wentz not finding the players.
Yeah.
Other times it was just there's a Lack of talent. Ty was hurt for so much this season.
He
I
was.
and I think that actually drew away because people are always like, "Oh, Ty's washed now." You'll find Colts fans saying that, but also you saw at the end of last season as well. Philip Rivers started finding Ty, and the passing game opened up.
Hmm.
You saw moments where Carson Wentz would find Ty, and then suddenly all these other routes are opening up because they're looking for the deep post to Ty. So I think we need to find. I'm hoping Ty doesn't retire. I hope he does come back to the Colts just because he is a deep threat,
Hmm.
and teams are still looking out for him. They know he can play. Like they know that he can play. But I think we need to find another Ty like person to stretch the field because Pittman is good. Pittman is great. He's going to be a star in the league. But when you have such a drastic drop off from 1 to 2 of almost 700 yards,
Hmm.
that shows you have to get someone else in there. And I like Zach Pascal. I like Ty. I like all our receivers. They have all been great. But this season, I think it showed that we need at least one more receiver added. I want Zach Pascal back. He's known as the touchdown machine. He didn't score many this season, but I think if we get another person in there that that'll once again open him up. But it was very concerning to look at post game and just okay, season's over. What do the stats look like? And you just see a 700-yard drop off between 1 and 2. That's unacceptable.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that even. That's incredible. That's just
The more you learn.
Right?
I gotta ask though, like there was even with all of the meh that was in this season, there was some good, and I gotta ask, like, what moment sticks out to you the most as being like the defining moment of this season in a good sense? We already know what the defining moment in a bad sense was, and we don't need to go there. We don't need to go there.
So, I think the biggest win was the Bills game. I think it showed that we were a team not to be messed with. I think it showed we played at our true potential that game, where everything was clicking. Carson Wentz didn't even have to like throw the ball that game because JT was just going crazy, but Josh Allen could not do anything that game. He got picked off multiple times.
Yeah.
He was flustered. The defense was swarming. And I think that shows the true potential of this Colts team where, I mean, heck, we could beat anyone. And they showed that. And then, obviously, they could also just not show up
Yeah.
and get blown away. So, there were certainly those great moments and then the bad moments and then the long season. So you kind of saw it all.
Hmm. My favorite was when JT ran against the Patriots, that final drive. Lucas Oil went nuts.
I was so mad I couldn't make it to that game. I ended up giving away my ticket because I couldn't make it to the game. So I was somewhere else and I just had the game streaming on my phone and I just went nuts. I just went nuts when that happened.
I was at a where was I? I was going to see Spider-Man with friends, and we were having dinner at a burger joint next to the theater, and they had the game on, and I was watching the game, and it was it's every time the Colts beat the Patriots. So just for clarity, when I was growing up, I was a huge Colts fan because Peyton Manning was my favorite player. You know,
Right.
I always was rocking the red and pewter for the Bucks. But if the Bucks weren't doing well, I was like, "How are the Colts doing? Are they winning?" And I have so many fond memories of them playing the Patriots. Watching them beat them this year was like, That brings back good memories. I like that.
Felt good.
Yeah.
It did, especially that ending where he just.
Yeah.
I forget how long the run was, but it was.
It was. Give me a sec. I have it right here. It was 67 yards.
I knew it was close to 70.
Oh, and here's something I didn't know. That was the first time the Colts have beaten the Patriots since 2009.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
The last time was the 4th and 2 game.
oh.
It has been a while, and
Yeah.
I made sure to tweet a lot of things about that one.
Of course.
It was great fun finally being able to come back to Patriots fan and being like, we own you guys.
Yep. That it felt
Just
like
for
that
this
was.
season. Like it was nice to be able to hang your hat and be like, look, you lost. Like
The feeling of beating a rival is something that's just
Especially the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
what I'm looking forward to is hopefully the Colts flip the script and Mac Jones cannot beat us. I think that would be such an infuriating thing for Patriots fans to have to go through. Just Mac Jones cannot beat the Colts, like, because of course then we start chirping a whole lot more than we do.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a hilarious just little tidbit. If roles are now reversed and Patriots fans are like, we can't beat the Colts now.
Well, don't want to get your hopes up yet, but you are playing the Patriots on the road next season. So.
Yep. I'm actually looking to go to that game. I've never
Really?
been to Gillette. I wanna make my new home in Gillette Stadium. Talk a lot of crap and hopefully watch a Colts dub. Of course, maybe I won't buy the tickets now, just in
Wait
case.
to see how things pan out.
If the team does suck, I don't want to be blowing $1,000 to go see the Colts just get blown out by the Patriots, because
Who would want to see
Bill
that?
Belichick.
Exactly.
He can blow you out. So
It's just unfortunate that Patriots win this year wasn't against Tom Brady.
I know.
But speaking of Brady, we are all connected to him, Isaac, as a Bucs fan, so he retires. How do you feel about it?
Do we have to talk about this?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. I owe Adam Schefter an apology because I legitimately thought that he got it wrong again.
He leaked it early. He shouldn't have. He should have given Brady those.
He does this. Yeah. So it's weird. It's kind of a feeling of both. It's one of those don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened things. But at the same time, it's also kind of a feeling of relief. And I say relief because, look, I love that we had Brady for 2 years. It was great. The Bucs were finally relevant again. We won a Super Bowl. We had the best season in franchise history. But on the other hand, the media just constantly talked about Brady and didn't talk about the great cast. And, now I have the guys in my fantasy football chatter all being like, oh, you guys are going to be terrible next year. You're going to be so bad. And I'm like, our roster is one of the best freaking rosters in all of football. We didn't win a Super Bowl because Brady was there. We won a Super Bowl. Brady was the last piece needed. We won a Super Bowl because we have a stellar roster. We just needed the last piece. And that was a guy who could connect us all together with great leadership, something that the previous guy, Jameis, couldn't do. So
the Jameis disrespect is wild.
Jameis Winston, I hate Jameis Winston so much.
Listen, you have to be a certain breed to be able to throw 31 touchdowns and 30 picks in one season. I'm sorry. You just have to be a different breed of quarterback.
Yeah, that part. Yeah, no, I hate Jameis Winston. He shouldn't even be in the league. People completely forget about the sexual assault charges back in college that were, really publicized. There's so much stuff that he's done, and it's like, I hate him. Anyway.
So we do have about 9 minutes left for this. But so Brady has kind of been a pain in the ass for the Colts for pretty much his entire career. So seeing his retirement must have felt good.
So for me, I was like, finally he retired. This is getting annoying. But on the other side, I also put out a tweet that all the NFL quarterbacks I grew up watching are gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have still like Rodgers in, but I didn't group him in with that group of players that retired because he kind of came onto the scene a little bit later, and he's still playing, and he will still probably be playing for another year or two. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I decided to leave him out of it. But all the quarterbacks I grew up watching are retired. It's crazy to look at how many Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have retired in the past 6 seasons, and you
Yeah.
just like look at them and you're like, wow, they're all
Yeah.
Hall of Fame. I'll give Brady his credit. He had a great career. He won a lot. That made me mad, but he did win a lot.
That's an understatement.
And he did have the Colts numbers. I will say some of the Colts' greatest franchise things came at the hands of Brady when the Colts beat Brady. Those were all very nice. So I do thank him for those moments. And I still would take Manning over Brady just because I am going to be a homer here.
You know what? I would too.
I love Manning. I would say that Peyton Manning overall was a more complete player. I think Brady is the most accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they both have reasons to be talked about as to why they should be the GOAT.
Absolutely.
I think both. I mean, the Colts official Twitter put out a thing that Peyton Manning said about Brady, and I respond with 2 GOATs at the end of the day, with all due respect.
Yeah.
Because
fair enough.
I don't like Brady. I don't like him.
That's fine, man.
I think that there's been numbers of occasions where he's been caught cheating. The Patriots have been caught cheating. I will forever hold those against him because I think that just, regardless of whatever happened in the outcome, it's but you felt the need to cheat. So there's that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I can't not look at someone's great football career and say, oh, he's undeserving, he's not good. I'm not one of those fans. I'll talk about how I don't like him, but you have to respect Brady at the end of the day.
Yeah,
That's fair
absolutely.
enough.
I mean,
fair
growing
enough.
up an Eagles fan, I mean, we finally went to the Super Bowl back in 2004, and he beat us, and then hadn't done anything. Well, not hadn't done anything, but haven't gone to the Super Bowl, and then finally in 2017 we get our rematch and beat him, and then he just doesn't shake Nick Foles' hand, and then But at the end of the day, obviously, it's not in the sense of you don't know what you have until it's gone. We know what we had.
Oh yeah.
We knew exactly what we had. A pain in the ass that was really good, but
I'll miss him. I'll definitely miss him. I was thinking about it, like you said, Eric. I started watching football in 2004. Brady and Roethlisberger were the last 2 players from that to retire. So I think you can say now at age 24, my childhood finally has concluded. But it's a weird feeling. It's like I hated Brady until he joined the Bucs, and I was like, well, maybe I was a little harsh on the guy. But even I can admit that these last 2 seasons, Brady's basically just been throwing checkdowns and letting the Bucs roster do the rest of the job, which I'm fine with. It works. I mean,
yeah, I will say Tampa Bay Brady was a whole lot more tolerable
mm-hmm.
than New England Patriots Tom Brady. I still had a disdain towards him.
Of course.
But I found myself laughing at his stupid Twitter videos he put out. I was oh, that's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'd kind of hate myself for saying it was funny. Because I was like, no, I'm supposed to not like this guy. But he was a whole lot more tolerable than New England Patriots Brady. So I'll give him that.
That's what Tampa Bay does to you. It makes you a better person. Just look at what it did to Ndamukong Suh. We don't.
It makes you a Florida man.
It does, but in a good way.
You mean tell me he's not stomping on legs and heads anymore?
Not anymore. No, not anymore. Somehow.
Oh, that's funny. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. You've been awesome. It's been great talking to you about the Colts.
No problem.
Yeah.
If you go to the game, you got to come back on. We got to talk about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime you guys need content for the off season, I'll definitely come back on. This is fun.
Awesome. I'll hit you up on Twitter. Speaking of which, follow him on Twitter. It's at Colts_coverage and the Blue Stable. So it's been awesome. Thanks, dude.
Thank
All
you
right,
so much for coming on board, man.
No problem.
All right. Take it easy.
Isaac, I'm going to end it and then we're going to rejoin and then we're going to
Okay.
record the rest. All right.
Okay.
Dude, thank you.
No problem. Do you guys not have the premium Zoom?
No, we don't.
No, we're lame. We're lame. We're just
Man,
starting.
that's such a pain. You have to leave and then join back. We so we got so tired of that we just bought the premium Zoom, and it's like, it's nice, but at the same time it's like, why do we have to pay premium to just be in a meeting?
Right?
I don't get it.
I've debated on it, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 15. I think it's 15 a month. I think maybe
something like that.
maybe it's 20. I'm not quite sure. We just use our sponsorship money to pay it. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, anyway, yeah, it was good talking to you guys. Anytime you guys want me to come back on to talk Colts, I'm down. Just hit me
Got
up.
it.
Awesome.
Either one of you guys. So.
Got it, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. See you
I'll
guys
be posting
later.
it tomorrow.
Okay. Just tag me in it and I'll retweet it.
For sure. Awesome.
Alrighty. Sounds good.
Thanks, dude.
All right. No problem. See ya.
Bye.
Later.